it's just ugly, and it's as if you needed more ugliness out of the horrors in Minneapolis last year with the murder of George Floyd and the aftermath there. Now, new body cam footage released showing police officers celebrating what one of those officers called hunting George Floyd protesters in Minneapolis, less than a week after Floyd's murder, when the country was just so sensitive to what was going on. The footage was introduced as part of the criminal case against Jaleel Stallings, who was accused of trying to kill police officers, but has since been acquitted of all charges, according to his attorney, Eric Rice. The 27-year-old faced 2 counts of attempted second-degree murder, 2 counts of first-degree assault, 1 count of second-degree assault, and 3 other charges for firing a gun at an unmarked police van. No officers were injured. And, we know we're going to get to what Jaleel had to withstand. But first, let's listen to what some of the police were saying after they were celebrating shooting protesters. Let's listen.
Although this group probably is predominantly white.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Well,
because there's not looting and fighting.
5, 6 of the people said they're from Minneapolis and they're all white.
It's nice to hear that we've moved to tonight. It was just nice to hear. We're going to go find some more people. Instead of chasing people around, we're going to hunt.
It's like they're playing a video game. They're shooting with rubber bullets at these protesters out in the street. These are the sworn peace officers of Minneapolis, Cenk.
So remember, the protests were over police abuse and violence. And so their answer was, let's shoot randomly out of our van and then celebrate every time we hit an actual human being with a rubber bullet. And then let's assume, by the way, if you didn't miss it, they're white protesters, so they're probably not rioting and looting. So gee, I wonder who they're shooting at more. If you were trying to prove that police in this country and in that area in particular are not abusive of the citizens, well, this was a curious way to do it. And so if you live in America, I got to tell you, because you're gaslit by our entire culture, this is not normal. In other countries that are in any way, shape, or form developed, the police do not go around shooting rubber bullets out of their vans indiscriminately at the citizens. If there's a curfew, they go and they tell the people that they've got to go home. They go through an orderly process where they try to de-escalate. They don't just shoot people without even asking who they are, why they're out. How do you know that they're not out in a case of an emergency, which would be allowed in a curfew? What if they had to go to the hospital? Who cares? Just shoot them, especially if they're not white, apparently, according to those tapes.
Yeah, and it's look, the thing you hit on that I hadn't even put together, although maybe I even said it, is that this was just about police brutality, and these are brutal police. At any time, if you think they would be chastened to correct their ways, it would be in the immediate aftermath of the ugliest thing that a lot of people have ever seen on video, which is that knee in the neck of George Floyd as he died. So on 100%, that's the most difficult thing to look at here. And then, when people talk about defunding the police, it's not defunding money for most of the people who say it. It's defunding the mentality that you're listening to from these officers as they are firing away at protesters or just people on the street. We talked about Jaleel Stallings, the man who was accused of trying to kill police officers, later acquitted. Well, there's video of Jaleel. It picks up right after that last video we just saw. You'll see in the video police shooting from an unmarked van. Stallings says he was hit with a rubber bullet, one of those bullets that they're firing, and he then returned fire. Police punch him after he's seen lying face down. Here's Jaleel Stallings' video.
He's down. He's on the ground. No, go right there. Please.
Son, listen.
Put your hands on your back.
Listen.
Put your hands on your back.
Listen, sir, listen.
Put your hands on your back.
I'm trying.
Put your hands on your back. Put your hands on your back.
I'm trying.
There's a gun behind you.
I'm trying, sir.
So he's on the ground, he is in the surrendered position, and he's trying to talk to these people, and they're screaming. And one looked like, and I don't know if that's the case, but it looked to my eye like he walked over the first one and kicked him. Cenk, I mean, this was right after George Floyd.
Yeah, so the cops are going around indiscriminately firing at people. This guy has a weapon, which the right wing loves. That's your Second Amendment right? And when he is shot at, he doesn't know it's an unmarked van. It's in the middle of the protest, and yes, some trouble in that area overall, and that's why they had the curfew. Somebody starts shooting at him from an unmarked van. That's got every right winger's dream written all over it. Oh my God, the bad guy's shooting in the middle of this melee,
right.
And I've got a gun, and I can finally be the good guy that stops the bad guy, right? So he shoots at the guys shooting at them, and then the cops come swarming out of the van. He sees their cops, immediately throws down his weapon, goes into surrender position. I mean, he couldn't have done it any better according to the right-wing manual, right? And they're like, oh, who cares? They kick him in the head, they punch him in the head many times. And then if you notice, after he put his hands behind his back, first he had in a surrender position like this, which is actually behind his back. But then once he finally was managing with his face on the ground, got his hands behind his back, the cop kept punching him in the head, saying, put your hands behind your back, when he saw and knew that his hands were already behind his back. So the answer to police violence, apparently in Minneapolis, was more police violence. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.